Right, I think this is about halfway through. I didn't get the start of this because I didn't really expect it to go all that well, but it seems to be going quite well. This is using slicer, and I had an awful lot of problems with the feeding. What I've changed, there was a piece of aluminium that I put in, just a small bit, and I changed that for a piece of plastic that I chopped off. Well, part of the feeding mechanism actually. It was just enough to do that. And since then it's been going alright. But I have also changed the position of the feeder. And it's only cobbled together. It's just some cardboard here which is super glued to give it a bit of strength. And it's actually got some copper wire. Don't know how well you can see that. I'll try and show you a bit later. That's going around the nozzle, and that's sort of holding it all up, just about. Because doing that shortens the length of the boarding tube, because it was sort of on the side over there. Now it's more central. Hopefully this is temporary. I am waiting for a new feeder. Sorry if this is a bit out of level. I've just set up the camera quick here. This feeder being hanging on basically just cardboard with a bit of super glue to strengthen it. I am worried about that with all the vibrations. This is certainly shaking about a lot as it goes through its printing routine. So that's from this side. Just some plastic clips here. You probably see the copper wire here. That's just enamel wire that looped round, because the weight of this stepper on here is bending the cardboard otherwise. I'll show you this from the side just now. As I say, that's only temporary up there anyway, hopefully. Doesn't matter what I do, it's still not a very good feeder. It's still not a very good feeder. I'll move the camera to show you from the side of this feeder how it is. You might see there's a copper wire just going around like this nozzle. Without that on, it's the weight of this stepper here is pushing this cardboard down. This was to reinforce it to try and stop it bending, but well, not too successful. Basically clamped on with some of these plastic sort of clamps I got from some epoxy resin from Poundland. Yes, I know it's a mess, but if it works, it works. And you can see how much the printer is moving there, like jerking, as it goes through its routine. So you can see it's just cardboard basically, super glued around the edges there to sort of hold those on. Those were to give it a bit, as I say, try and give it a bit more strength, stop it bending. Not so successful, to be honest, because these are quite heavy, these steppers, which is one advantage probably of having a boarding system. Zoom out, I think it's a bit sharper if I zoom out a bit. And let's have a look at the print. So the two black here are the sort of sides of the frame of the print here, printing machine. I have added another row of lights to this printer up above at the top back. So there's quite a lot of lights on this printer actually. This is just a bit of cardboard I've put up to try and keep any drafts coming from the side the camera's on, because there's a door here. Anybody comes in, it's going to make it quite a bit of a draft. There's my other light over there. Bit concerning that sort of, you might see it there, it sort of goes the filament. So might try and fit a bit of a boarding tube going in as well, just to so that it can't get caught on that cog wheel that's there. Probably notice I put some stickers on here as well, caution hot surface. So this is where this like feeding mechanism was hooked, just hooking on here. There's like 4 holes here on the side. That meant that the boarding tube was probably about 6 inches longer, 150 millimeters or so longer than it is now. So now it's shorter by that amount. And that is basically better to have a shorter boarding tube, my understanding. As I say, this is just a sheet of, basically piece of cardboard here, just to keep drafts out, because I do have this door here. That's my tripod. I've got the camera unhooked at the moment. Let me move around and show you some other angles. Yeah, it's a monster. You can probably see the copper wire there, that's sort of looping around this nozzle. Otherwise the weight of this stepper that's here on the right. I'll put some heat sink fins on here, on all my steppers, by the way, because they do get hot. Have a feel. Yeah, pretty hot. So these are just cemented on, some like heat sink cement. I found that trying to bolt them on was awkward because there's not much space for heads, and then you need longer bolts if you're going to use bolts. So I think that will be okay. I don't really think it'll need a fan. It's hot, not probably too hot. Let's have a look at this. And let me turn these other lights on. So there's that other extra row of lights I've put at the back there. They're 50/50s, I think. A bit bigger, the bulbs. Yeah, it's a right mess, but if it works, it works. Here's the stepper here, the feeding mechanism sort of from this side. As I say, basically this is almost just like a bolt. There's no spring. At the moment it's pushing on a little bit of loose plastic that I cut off the bottom. Well, it's a special, it's almost like nylon, it's very slippy indeed. And that's pressing on the filament, that's pressing on the hub bolt. Let's have a look at the display. So the first layer is 200, and I think it's 55 for the bed. PLA, I'm using blue PLA, as you see, it's blue. The bed's at 50 at the moment. Now I have had a lot of problems of getting prints removed off this blue painter's tape, but I have tried raising the sort of Z probe height, which lifts the nozzle a bit so it's not squashing quite so much, but it seems to be squishing well enough to me. Print doesn't come loose anyway. So there's lights on the side of here, lights on this like rail here, and that new one on the back over there, smoke alarm up there, notice. recommended to have, say, a smoke alarm. Just a big fan there, which I try to use as a filter. There's some carbon filters in there, and there's a HEPA filter in there actually at the moment. As I say, I've put these stickers on, caution, like hot surfaces and such like. Okay, I'm going to pause it there in a couple of seconds, let this come round a bit. Then I want to try and catch it as it gets near the end. I don't know how successful I'll be at doing that, to be honest. This looks like the very, very, very best print I've done so far, so long as I can get off the bed. The teeth look fine. I think the laser's going to adhere together, not splitting. Can't see any stringing between parts. I'll have to wait until the head moves a bit to check. Some of the smaller parts might be a little bit stringing there. Let's have a look at the display there. Yes, I know it's a mess. Cardboard is super glued together and one thing and another. Everything's cardboard here. My ramps is in this box here with a solid state relay and a voltage converter. My power supply is in this other cardboard box down here. I have a fan there, that's in a cardboard box. Well, if you can't print stuff out in plastic, use cardboard. I don't have a fan to cool down the prints. The only fan I have is that big one in the corner. Obviously this fan actually on the hot end, E3D version 6. Sometimes I get those letters mixed up, but I think you know what I'm on about there. by the sounds of it, just there it sounded like it might be almost finished, you know. It was showing it. Sometimes you get the, like, know the noises that they make because of all the problems I had with this printer. It's been hard to get definitive sort of sound impression of when it's working well and such like, or when it's failing. Of course, a herringbone pattern like this is a bit hard to tell if it is printing out correctly because of the shape of the cob teeth. So I think that's okay. You might notice that the Z is going to town here. So that's raising and lowering the carriage to allow for an uneven bed, well, off kilter sort of bed. Likewise on that side. I'd like to say a big thank you to whoever developed the auto leveling routines, although it should be called auto tramming in a way, because we're not actually leveling bed, not in this case. There are some printers that actually do level the bed. This is actually raising and lowering the Z height a bit. You might see it there because the bed's moving quite slow, that's moving slow. Display is actually saying 190 for the nozzle, 50 for the bed, 1 hour 56 minutes it's on now, 80% complete, presumably that's what the 80% means on the display. So is it saying it's got 20% to go? We can see that it's got percentage there, but it's got this like bar graph that moves along, and that's the time it's used up to now, 1:57, 1 hour 57. Presumably that's 86% complete, but from my understanding you cannot really rely 100% on what it's saying on the display. I could be wrong about that, might depend on the model. Oh, there it goes, it's finished. So when it's finished, I ask it to raise the head out the way. Oh, there is a bit of a final string there, but it's very fine. And then I'll ask the bed to come forward and play a tune, so that I know that's finished, but I'm not really watching it all that close. Move back a bit. Back you get a bit better, like wider view. It's going right to the top, out the way, bed moves forward, starts playing the tune, so you know it's finished. Now this bed is going to stay hot for a good 20 minutes, if not half an hour. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this now, and I'm going to come back in half an hour. You can see here that the set temperature for the nozzle is 0, the set temperature for the bed on the right hand side is 0, that's the 2 zeros at the top, and the actual temperature, well, it was about 50 but dropped down to 46 for the bed, and the nozzle is 110 drop down, and it's gradually dropping. But this bed is quite hot, so I don't really want to touch it. I might even, if this doesn't come off, because I had a lot of problems, I was whacking it with a hammer and using this sort of sharpened wallpaper scraper thing. This has got quite a sharp edge on, to try and get under it and to get them off, and it wouldn't come off. Eventually I did get it off while I was pulling up the tape to get it off, and if it doesn't come off easy when it's cooled down, I might warm the bed up again, because that might soften this bottom layer and that might ease it off. I don't know, that's something to try, but I'm going to let it cool down first. On the time on there, by the way, it says 1 hour 58 minutes, so yes, I know this is a mess, but it seems to work reasonably well. It's not perfect, it's just temporary. Hopefully once I get this printer going reasonably well, then I can start printing out boxes and for things like that. Right, stop waffling, and I'll come back in half an hour. Okay, it's been over half an hour, pardon me. Let's look at the temperatures on here. So the basically ambient temperatures, 25 on the bed, 22 on the hot end, that's okay. Now let's see if I can get this off easily. Yeah, that's cool. Can't just, I'll try and get my fingernail, if I can, under the edge of this skirt. No. This is where I had fun and games last time. No. Should be very careful with this because it is sharp. No, that's not wanting to come off, so I'm going to whack with the spanner, adjustable bench. That is just getting under this edge here. Just see under that edge. Sometimes once you, not in this case, sometimes when you get it started, then it's usually a lot easier to come off. It's going under the blue painter's tape. Now I'm managing to almost go around, not too hard now at the moment. And yes, that's going between the blue painter's tape and the part, as you can probably see there. Now it's going under the blue painter's tape, so sometimes it's going under and sometimes it's going over the top of this blue painter's tape. Well, that's coming off. That was a lot easier than some of the other ones. So I'm still going to probably, sorry if I'm knocking the camera there, it's also going to raise the height of the sort of Z probe height a little bit and see, and that tape is also coming off the back end of this quite easily. As you see, there's not much string in there, a little bit, especially where that sort of arrow is there. Let's have a look at the teeth. Spot on, if you ask me. Well, that's a bit of a blob there. I don't know if these sort of layers are deliberate here. I think there must be. Try and get that other bit of tape off. Even just getting the tape off this part on some of the other prints has been extremely hard. But this is probably the best print I've ever produced on this print, actually. Let me show you as much as I can. Well, first, medium-sized print anyway. Some of the smaller prints haven't been too bad, but once you get a bit bigger, lots of problems. So a little bit of stringing, as you see. Seems to be quite a bit near that arrow. A little bit down here, I think. Yeah. So those teeth have come out very well. See, there seems to be a little bit, I can't really tell looking in the camera. Let's see something down there. Bit down here. Bit of plastic. All in all, very good. Layers cannot be separated easily by hand. Trying to pull them apart, but they look well joined. Show you that bottom edge. Still a bit of blue painter's tape on there, but that's very smooth. Not like glass smooth, but there's a bit sort of fine texture to it, but quite nice. There's that mark there, you can catch it in the light. Yeah, and that wasn't too hard to come off. It did take a few whacks there, as you've seen with this sort of, I think it's a wallpaper, I can't remember, paint scraper, wallpaper scraper. This is a plastic handle, talk about 3D printing, and when I bashed it before I did knock the end in a bit. So what I've done is actually drilled a couple of holes, because there's like a centre piece down here. Filled it with hot glue just at this end here, filed it down and sanded it down a bit, and that gives quite a bit of strength on this end here. That's what some people say with 3D prints. Actually, you can print them pretty hollow and fill them with hot glue, and that can give apparently a lot of strength. There's the final string as it pulled away when it was finishing off, but that is quite fine. Not like some of my earlier ones where it was more like a knitting needle. Terrible. Try and get that point of that arrow. I think that's a hex shaped nut in there. That's a little bit untidy if it is, but not too bad. me just get the measurement of that actually. So I'm just using this ruler here. Let's get this on 10 if I can. Let me move this light because now it's too bright now. Can I get the edge of that on at 10? Yeah, so that's about 75 mil. I'm not sure what size this is supposed to be honest. Let me try and get that 8 on there. That's about 10 millimeters, that part there, although up here is a bit higher. That's raised a little bit, that part there. Okay, very good. Well, compared to some of my other prints, just scrape this bits off a bit of water. I think it'll help that come off. Look at the bed, not too bad. So this is basically a heated bed, aluminium. That's it. So